Hello, welcome back to Search with Sean. This is another Chat with Sean episode, of course, and someone who I feature a lot on this channel, so it's awesome to have them on, actually, speaking to us one-on-one. It's Joy Hawkins, you see, and I'll do the intros as usual, and then we've got some great topics to get through. So yeah, let's get into it. So as you probably know, Joy is a highly respected SEO expert and the founder of Sterling Sky, a digital marketing agency specializing in local search. And yeah, does awesome videos and great posts on LinkedIn, and everyone should be following you. Like I say, I feature you a lot on the channel, so it's great to have you on.
Awesome. Happy to be here.
Sweet. So yeah, let's start off easy because I know it's early over there. So I'll give you an easy one to sort of go on. But how is AI impacting the optimization and ranking of local listings? We know like it's being brought in many different ways. I don't know if everyone's across it, but I know that you are. So if you could dive into a few of those things, that'd be great.
Yeah. So over in the US, we are seeing now that Google is actually like replacing our traditional local packs with ones that are powered by AI. And they're not better, certainly for businesses. They remove a lot of the features that we like in the search results, like call buttons, for example. So I would say AI is definitely having a negative impact on small businesses as far as the amount of traffic they're getting to the website and also the number of like clicks to call on their Google business profiles. Just yesterday, we spotted some on desktop, which they have not been on desktop up until now. So now we're seeing them on desktop. And the other kind of problem with it is that AI is not as good at finding the right businesses. So we were noticing, for example, I think I tweeted out a example. It was like a best search, like best ENT in Boise or Idaho or something. I can't remember the exact search, but it shows a business that has like a 2.3 average rating as one of the best. And there's no way that Google's normal local algorithm would do that. Like I've never seen a business rank for a best query that has anything lower than a 4-star. And they actually have filters in place to filter out based on rating. So it's really interesting to see that AI is just like ditching some of the fundamentals of ranking that we are used to, like reviews, which is not good. Like I don't see that as a good thing. So some people might say that over time Google will perfect it and it'll get better, and hopefully that's true. But as of right now, it's pretty trash.
Yeah, I mean, we've had so many discussions on this channel about like them seeming to have rushed this through, and
Yeah,
it
100%.
seems like a half-baked product. But why would you? I don't know. Do you know why you might do that? And
I think it's what their
or-
shareholders expect, right? Because they have competition. I think if ChatGPT hadn't taken off the way that it did, I'm not sure Google would have rushed it, as fast as they did, because they were clearly working on it. Like it's not like they didn't have anything AI ready to go. But I do think it was early. I don't think they should have done it as much as they did, but it's clearly working in the sense that like their shareholders are happy, their stock price is up, like everything's good financially on Google's side. So clearly what they're doing is working from that perspective. But from a user perspective, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out, because definitely I think people are losing trust in Google, but not to the point where they're going to switch, because what are they going to switch to? Right. So I'm not really worried in that sense. And we're now seeing even like shifts where people are like dropping ChatGPT. Like that was their biggest contender, and now that volume is starting to dip. So we're even seeing that with our own leads from ChatGPT that we get. It's like increasing steadily over the last year, like at a pretty fast rate, and then all of a sudden it flatlines and then it actually goes down. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's interesting to see Google actually have some competition.
yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of like the sector I work in is the charity health sector. And we're seeing similar things where AI overview is obviously very dominant in our part of the space, and they're taking a lot of the sort of less people calling in to the support line, calling in to do certain things because there's not that they're not really giving you that option on those AI overviews and like making that clear. So similar kind of problem, but how are you trying to get around sort of getting those numbers up or fighting against that in any way? Or is it too early to even do anything to see how it rolls out?
Yeah, so it's interesting because the clients that we talk to that, we're asking like, how's business? Like, how are your sales? Yada, yada. None of them are down. So it's interesting to see that like the real world impact doesn't appear to be there as much. Now it's hard, right? Because like attribution's really hard with this. So when we see like clicks to call down or call numbers down or clicks, on your website down, we assume that would be a negative, right? That's usually not a great way to see the metrics go, but it's I can't say that I've seen a lot of businesses say that like their actual number of clients is dropping. So it's not like people still need to find plumbers and doctors and lawyers and whatever. And if they're going to hire one, they're going to hire one. So that hasn't changed. I think attribution is getting harder. And I think rank tracking is slowly becoming useless. Like I don't even know how rank tracking is going to operate in an AI powered world. Like it's going to be a huge shift. And while I think I can wrap my head around it, I can't even tell you how many clients we have that we tell them constantly, rankings don't matter. Like, don't obsess about this. They don't care. They still obsess about it. Like, there's no training these people. So I don't understand how we're going to communicate value. I think that's going to be the most challenging thing for SEOs in the next year is like, how do you show that what you're doing is working if all the numbers are looking bad and it's getting harder to attribute stuff like that honestly is the biggest challenge.
Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of stuff that like, I guess like life generally, when things are seeming like, even though many forecasters and experts are expecting bad things coming down the track, which most of the world is at the moment, people don't seem to like take it that seriously because at the moment in their own lives, it's kind of okay. Things haven't changed that much and they're kind of getting by or whatever. Yet when it hits them, it's like, oh crap, why didn't someone tell me about this? And it's like, this is, I feel like we're in that kind of stage where it was the emergence of AI and everything else going on. It's kind of like that kind of danger zone where I think a lot of us can see this coming down the line, but I still don't think some of the, like you say, some of them are still stuck in the old mindset of this sort of keyword rankings and traffic and that kind of stuff. It's, it's interesting.
Yeah. And it's good to come back to like old school, like, how did you hear about us? Like trying to track, right? And we know this we track every single customer that signs up with us. And like single attribution has been long dead, right? Like I will hear people that'll be like, oh, I watched your videos. Oh, but I'm also, subscribed to your newsletter. And also maybe they saw, me on a podcast somewhere. Like it's not a single thing. So we're trying to get that to our clients' brains. You got to be everywhere, but then it becomes harder. Like, oh, was it the ad that, brought the person in? Was it your organic? Was it your reviews? What was it? And it's like, well, actually, it's just kind of a combination of all of it. But yeah, attribution is challenging. I would say now is more important than ever to make sure you're doing call tracking though, because call tracking is the one thing that like call tracking numbers are pretty good. No, they can't break down like, an AI search on Google versus a regular search on Google. But like, as long as you're keeping the bucket as Google, you should still be able to track stuff there. So some things are not broken yet.
And so you reminded me when you was talking, when I had Greg Gifford on, he was talking about this when initially the stuff about, with AI going and get you answers, quotes and stuff ringing around the different businesses and is that, I don't know if that's even here in the UK yet, but
no.
Have you seen any sort of traction on that or any sort of examples of that yet?
We've had clients get calls from AI. It's a little creepy. I've listened to a few of them, because Google does a really good job of making it sound like a human, like it stutters, it pauses, it has background music, like there's noise behind it's just like a straight AI track. And we even listened to a call where an AI was talking to an AI. That was a train wreck. Like it started looping at the end, like it kind of got stuck and repeating itself because a lot of, again, businesses are getting AI assistants answering their phones. And I'd probably argue, I'm not opposed to AI answering phones because honestly, anything's better than sitting on hold, right? Like that's the worst. So if you can get somebody off hold and, filter through some questions, like sure, like we have clients trying that right now. But I don't know how well it's going to adopt. I've seen lots of times where Google launches this really cool, shiny feature. And if nobody uses it, they get rid of it. Like I thought chat, which was like a feature in Google search was going to be amazing, but nobody used it. And if they can't get enough adoption, they won't keep it. But I was like, who wouldn't use this feature? Like, who wants to actually call a business these days? I would much rather chat with them or text them, right? But not enough businesses put it on their profile. Not enough people activated it. And if that's the case, then users aren't going to get used to operating with it when they see it on Google. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's got to get wide adoption or it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think the problem is like the things that it would be really useful for are kind of like the sectors that aren't really that tech savvy. So their websites aren't usually the best, and they don't really have anyone in marketing, you know, or they're one person doing it all. They don't really have the sort of knowledge and insights into like what's going on. So they're probably like, I agree. I mean, the only annoying thing when you get AI and you just want to talk to a human, you keep saying, I want to talk to a human, and they're like, keep trying to keep you on this chat or whatever. That gets a bit annoying. But I guess in terms of like, because you look into this quite a lot, what are at this moment, the most effective strategies to maintain a strong ranking in Google Maps?
Yeah, so the fundamentals of that have not changed. Reviews are king. I would say, you know, getting constant reviews is the best thing any business can do to keep their presence strong there. And then obviously, as far as controlling what phrases you actually rank for, your relevance, that's always been on-site SEO, like content on your site, the way things are structured. We're starting to definitely see that like the right words, the order of the words, the way that you structure sentences, things like that can have an impact on your local pack rankings. And so I think that algorithm is more finicky when it comes to like looking for certain things. So all the different ways that people can, you know, talk about a taco, for example, like you want to make sure you have all the right words and you talk about like, I don't know, different toppings, different things. Like there's all kinds of words that Google will look for and associate with that particular term, right? So we've been kind of leaning heavy into that, like optimizing for, you know, entities, making sure you have all the right words and things. And that definitely can move the needle. Press releases is probably my number one link building strategy at the moment, which I thought I'd never say, but it is because it helps. It doesn't really help with organic that much, but organic's kind of dying. So it's like the one, if I was to think like AI, organic, and local pack, we've got 3 algorithms now basically that we're looking at. I would say local pack is still on top for number one priority. And I don't know, AI and organic, it depends on the industry. Like, clients care more about AI because they think it matters. Technically, they're probably still getting way more leads from organic, but there is a gap between what they think versus reality. So it's hard because I'm like, the strategist in me is like, oh, we got to follow the numbers. We should focus on this. But if the client doesn't care about it, it's like, they're just not going to stay. Like they have this idea in their head. So someone at a mastermind I was at was saying like, people are willing to throw so much money right now at AI with 0 KPIs. And some people think that's wonderful because they'll just take the money. I don't know where I sit with it. I'm like, I don't know. I want to be able to actually provide an ROI. So I don't know, again, what the ROI is on AI yet for small businesses, but I do know that our clients are starting to get actual clients from it and leads from it. So it's something. How much of Google? It's still a very low percentage. Like it's nothing compared to what they would get from Google.
Yeah. I hear similar stories from others. And Darren Shaw, when he was on, he spoke really highly of you, actually. And, just saying about, how he kind of, as he said, like reviews are very important and the freshness of them and getting them regularly. But he gave a few tips on how to possibly do that. I know, is it correct that Google kind of cracking down on what they seem as kind of incentivizing the getting reviews? But how do you, I've been in that area before, like e-commerce, it's very difficult to get people to leave reviews and without sort of encouraging them somewhat. So have you got any sort of tips on that?
Yeah, it's harder in e-commerce because you don't have face-to-face interaction with the customer, right? On the local SEO side, it's like you ask the person when they're in your face, right? And you get them to do the review right then and there. And that's what works. So, I mean, if you're going and doing a roof on somebody's house and you're talking to them, handing them the bill, that's when you ask for the review. Like, and you ask, hey, can we take a photo of your roof? And can you put that in the review? Like you have that opportunity. It's a little harder in e-commerce because yes, I'm not gonna lie, I like delete 90% of the emails I get from e-commerce where they're like, hey, can you review your purchase? No, I'm good. Like, delete. So I understand in e-commerce, it would probably be hard without some type of incentive. I will tell you, like, I walked into a card shop the other day and they gave me, they're like, oh, you get a free pack of Pokemon cards if you leave us a Google review. And I mean, like, everyone does it. Like, who wouldn't want a free pack of Pokemon cards? Like, of course. So it's interesting. So I was a little conflicted because I'm like, I want to get my daughter this pack of Pokemon cards. But then it's like, oh, I tell people not to do this all the time. And if Google catches this business, they're going to delete all these reviews. So I do think that Google is getting better at catching people, but they're still pretty bad. Like, there's so many fake reviews online. So it's like they're better than they were, but then fake review volume has also gone up. So is it really better? Like, what's the net? I don't know. It's still terrible. There's a lot of review violations. They don't police it evenly. So while I tell people don't do it, so many people get away with it just fine. And they're reaping benefits. But incentivizing is another level because it's also against like FTC guidelines in the US. So I don't know. I'd be more worried about like breaking laws and things. That's not something I would suggest doing. But people still do it and it still works. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, don't break the law.
Yeah. Don't break the law. But when you see your competitors doing it and you see them gaining as a result, it's going to be frustrating. Like, and I feel you because there's really no outlet that you have. Actually, Google has a dedicated forum now to report people for incentivizing. So if you have proof, like that card shop had a sign. If I had a photo of that sign, like they'd take down all the reviews. They would literally lose them all. So if there's a sign, if they're publicly doing it, you can totally go report them and Google will act on it. So that is, not the best solution, but it feels slimy. But like also, if you're trying to play by the rules and your competitors aren't, there is that option.
Mm. Yeah, it is tricky. Why do you think fake reviews have increased quite a lot recently? Is that AI driven or is that just
Yeah. I mean, now like review providers they don't have to write them. Like, you could spin out AI generated reviews. The ability to do it at scale is easier now. I'd say fake reviews are more rampant than ever. In fact, the wave I've seen the last year that didn't really exist before is extortion is on the rise. So you'll get somebody like in Bangladesh will go, post 15 one-star reviews on your profile, then they'll contact you and tell you if you want them deleted, you have to pay them. So we've had this happen to clients. And that's like a new thing. Like I've never seen that before. Google also has a new dedicated forum to report that. So they're pretty quick to act on it. Like you get hit with that, they will take them down, usually pretty fast, usually within 48 hours. So it's kind of good to see that Google reacted to that one pretty quickly. But the problem is most business owners don't even know that forum exists. They don't know what to do about it. So while I know it exists, it doesn't help the average mom and pop shop who's just freaking out. So that's the unfortunate part. The other unfortunate part with review volume is how Google determines spam is by volume. So if you got hit with like 3, Google probably won't do anything. If you get hit with like 15, 20, Google will take them down. So that's like, there's some nuances to it where I'm like, oh, if you really want to screw somebody over, just go leave them a few. Don't leave them like tons. And then Google doesn't do anything. So there's a lot of unfairness to it, but I do think that they've gotten better. But at the same time, the volume of fake reviews is not dying off anytime soon. Like the number of businesses I even talk to that admit to buying reviews, it's not just the bad businesses. Like the benefits are so huge that some people are just like, why not? Right? Because it gives them ranking benefits. It'll directly impact their business. Their sales will go up. Like so many good things where if people just kind of chuck their morals out the window, I can understand why, it's tempting.
Yeah, and we know now with like what you can do with AI agents and stuff, like it's going to get very intelligent in terms of how they can understand how to bypass these sort of, tests to see if they're human or to like, they're going to understand what the boundaries are, all these sort of things. And we've seen like scam levels are like increasing massively in the UK because they're getting more intelligent with voice and cloning and all that sort of stuff. And even like years ago when I was working, like I say, in the sort of e-commerce space, that we had this situation all the time on Google reviews and Trustpilot where people would leave a bad review. You would try and deal with it in the best possible way you could, offer them a refund, offer them like discount off their next purchase or something. And they would still be because they knew the power of, like, especially when they had really long reviews detailing in their eyes what everything's wrong with the company. And they'll just keep adding to that and then wanting more and more. Like, how do you deal with these sort of customers? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you have to deal with it offline. It's the only way to do it, right? Like, you got to make that customer happy, not by responding to them in the review. Like, any successful case I've seen with clients where they get the person to like remove the review, it's like they're handling it on the phone, like an actual verbal interaction with a person. It's amazing how angry people sound on the internet because it's like 2D communication. The moment you actually get like in front of somebody or talk to them face to face, even how we're doing, you don't have to do it in person. Like, you get the contact, you get the tone, you can empathize with them. I interviewed a business owner named Tommy Mello on our YouTube channel, and he runs a $200 million garage door company in the United States. And I asked him this. I was like, how do you deal with those angry customers? And he literally said, like, I get them on the phone and I'll put them on speaker and I'll just let them rant. And I'll validate what they're saying. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That is not okay. We'll make sure we deal with that technician. They should have not shown up to your house like that. Like, that is, not our standard, yada, yada. Like, you have to hear them out. And it's amazing how calm you can get somebody. So really, it's no fancy trick. It's just, dealing with the person, making them happy. And I think that's just good business, right? But a lot of people want shortcuts and they don't want to have to deal with it. I will tell you, like, I watched this happen to a business recently because I went to a Valentine's Day dinner with my husband and they were so behind. You had to prepay for your meal. It was super expensive. We paid like $200 for the night and you had to prepay, pre-book. We get there. We don't even get our first drink for half an hour. So they're clearly really behind. And their next wave of people showed up and their current wave of people were like halfway done dinner. So there was a line around the restaurant. It's not a big restaurant, a giant line, guys sitting there with their girlfriends with roses in their hands, like just standing there for like an hour. I'm like, this is a nightmare. And they got so many negative reviews because of that experience, which they should get. Like, those people paid. They should be able to get there on time at the reservation and have their dinner that they paid for. And the business didn't even respond to a single one of them. They're all still live like weeks later. Didn't respond to any of them. I'm like, that's how you ruin a business. Like, I think you got 11 negative reviews I counted from that night on this restaurant. It's one of my favorite restaurants, but I was like, man, you failed here, guy. And like, you should have done better. You have to be able to admit like when you screwed up. And the fact that it didn't even respond to any of the reviews, I'm just like, dude, that's, I don't know, not the way to do it.
yeah, that is, I had a similar experience at a Christmas meal once and wasn't good. And yeah, I think, like you say, you need to respond online, but not like start a war with like.
No. What if people do as their default? They go and they respond online. And I'm like, no, that should never be step one. Like, contact the customer. Half the time people know who this is. Like, sometimes they don't. In that case, obviously you're left. But it was funny. I remember asking actually a review expert that I talked to named Curtis Boyd, and he was like actually telling people don't respond to a fake review. If you think it's fake, don't respond to it. But if it's like a legitimate experience, like the one I was describing, like, you need to respond to that customer, but your first step should not be online. If you have a way to contact them offline, like, do that. Call them. Like, don't text them, don't email them, and certainly don't defend yourself. Like, that is, I saw a business actually, I think it was a boat dealer do this and was helping him on the Google Business Profile community. He got an angry review. He responded to the person and said, I'm sorry that your experience doesn't reflect reality. I was like, oh no, that's like not a good way to respond. And that person now went and left him like 5 more. And Google wouldn't even remove them. So Google wasn't convinced they were all from the same person because they were different accounts. They were worded differently. I mean, I could tell. I was like, you pissed this person off. They went and told their mom and their brother and whoever to go review you. And that's what happened. But Google left him. So now the guy went from having 1 mad person to like 5. Like, this is not how you run a business, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Deal with it, like you say, over the phone, face to face, over the phone, and then go and in afterwards state, look, after we spoke, I'm glad that we've been able to deal with your situation and your, blah, blah, blah. I think, yeah, it's a much better approach.
Yeah. Even if you have to lose money on that sale, oh, well, like, you're protecting your business and your brand and your long-term sales. Like, that's more important than whatever you got from that one person.
Yeah, 100%. Like you say, that one Valentine's thing could, lose you many more customers going forward. So It's not
I
one.
wonder, right? Because I mean, they lost all those customers, if anything, all the ones that they're like, we're never coming back. And then I'm like, I wonder how you calculate all the people reading those reviews too, that were like hesitating on going to that restaurant. Now they're like, nope, not going to go there.
And friends and family,
Right.
co-workers,
Right.
those things. People on the podcast.
I mean, this is still one of my favorites, but I was
Yeah, yeah.
torn because I was like, their service was garbage. Like that night. Like, so I was fine. I wasn't in a rush, but I also caught the first shift. So it's like, if I had come later and I'd been waiting for an hour, I would have been so angry. Like, no way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dangerous business model. I've seen that fail so many times. I don't think people should do that. In terms of, we all know now in like SEO that things are very hard to measure in terms of success. People go with different things they deem a success. But in terms of like local listings, what are the sort of things you should be measuring and kind of key metrics that you should be looking at mostly over
Yeah.
everything else?
Call tracking. And honestly, if you have one of those like texting options on your website, use an app for that. So we use this company called Lead for now. I know the owner really well. We have it on our website. So when you go to the Sterling Sky website, like there's a chat box that comes up, you put in your phone number and it starts a two-way text message. So we are texting people, they're getting text message on the phone, but it's showing up in our app and we can, transfer it to different employees and whatever, right? But it's done as a text message. Those are super easy to track. You can, find out how people heard about you. I'm still asking every person. Like, I'm not leaving it up to the attribution in GA4, which I can tell you is wrong all the time. And again, it depends on, was it the first one? Was it the last one? Like, how do you measure it? So I'm old school that way, but call tracking and doing some type of like text messaging system that can be tracked. Every business should be doing that. And that is really how you should be able to track your marketing, because people will tell you how they heard about you if you ask. I've found that to be true no matter what. And you should know like which lead sources are providing value. Google's always on top for small businesses. Like, that has not changed. So most businesses don't need to be sold on that. They know it. But it is harder for us to put it in a report. If you have call tracking, that's the easiest thing to put in a report. So that's why we're like, yes, you can track first time callers too, which filters out repeat customers and whatever. So I'm a huge fan of call tracking. I think that's the easiest thing still to report on. May get more challenging with AI as they, like dynamic number insertion isn't going to be a thing in AI mode if it uses the business phone number. So it's the same. So that's going to make it trickier. But again, you'll still be able to track the actual call and be able to see if those are going up.
And you're not concerned about, you think you're going to fix the whole reducing calls and the visibility of like the call buttons and stuff?
Yeah. So we're not really seeing that it's like dying. It's just shifting a bit. So one of the things we are seeing kind of take the traffic away is ads. And it's funny because I know there's SEOs online that are like, oh, that's not true. We've got data, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, listen, maybe it's not true across the board, but in local, we are seeing it's true because we are tracking both and we are call tracking both. And I can tell you that our clients are getting more calls from their ads than they used to, because those ads and the call buttons are way more prominent. So how they look, especially on mobile. So we tracked this using Places Scout. We had them tell us, over the last year, basically, what percentage of time was Google showing an ad in the local pack. And in the beginning of 2025, the number was, I think it was like 2 or 3% of the time. It is up to like 36% of the time. And I swear it's 100. Look, I see one, but it's clearly not 100. But like, based on the reports that we scan, we're using our own clients, our own data for this. It's up to like 36. And not only that, but the number is another one I'm not tracking, but like the number of actual ads that show up, how big they are. I mean, that's huge. But like local service ads increased from 2 to 3 on most of the SERPs in the last year. So now there's 3 instead of 2. And then they removed the call buttons from a lot of the traditional local packs, but then kept them in the ads or even made them bigger in the ads. So we are seeing that, again, the calls aren't dying. People still need to hire professionals, right? So that is true. Like, we're going to do that, but we are certainly seeing that it's becoming more pay to play than it used to be a year, and drastically in the last year. I mean, there's a reason why Google's numbers look good right now. Like, their revenue is very good right now.
Yeah, their Q4 whatever earnings call was massive.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, they got to pay for all that AI somehow.
Exactly. Yeah. And it kind of was on my list, but and you haven't got to answer it really. But I thought it's interesting because I think this is what I've seen some examples that are quite interesting around this, where we know, like with AI search, like ChatGPT or whatever, they put in, as we know, like from all different resources about information. And, some of it's kind of historical, some of it's on your site, some of it's on third party sites, all the listings and stuff you have. How's the best way to keep that all consistent? Say you've got multiple different sites or whatever, it becomes quite difficult, right, to manage all that. And I've seen like people not showing up for certain searches because they had something in 2014, an article saying that they shut it down and this kind of thing, and it's reopened since, but they're picking up that information. So I don't know if you've got anything on that.
So name consistency is probably the only thing that really matters. Phone numbers, I haven't seen phone number mismatches be a problem in a long time, So again, there's a simple solution to this too. If you use a tracking number on your business profile on Google, just put your real number as the secondary phone number line. Google can use that, match it up, like no big deal. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to use a call tracking number on your business profile. The name matching is definitely something you want to be consistent, like how your business name is featured, because what we are seeing with AI driven local packs is, let's say, for example, I'm listed as Sterling Sky SEO somewhere on some prominent site. And then on my listing, it's just Sterling Sky. Google, if they can't match that, will create a listing in the AI section not connected to your GBP or any of your reviews or any of that. It's just like almost like a blank listing. It's like the craziest thing. We see them all the time. And it's usually due to name mismatching. So they're not sure it's the same business. They don't want to match incorrectly. So it seems like it's almost playing it like uber safe right now, and they won't connect the two. So then you're not showing all your reviews, which is annoying. I think that's going to change over time, though. I don't think it's going to be as finicky as it is right now because the local algorithm caught up pretty fast when we used to see this, I don't know, like 20 years ago when the local pack first came out. It had problems like this, and it didn't take long for Google to figure it out. So I don't see this one being a problem long term. So I'm not on the train of like, oh, NAP consistency. You gotta like, it usually doesn't matter, and it's pretty easy to update your business name on all the ones that matter. Like your social sites actually matter the most. So like, your Instagram, your Facebook, your YouTube, etc. And then there's a small number of directories that matter, very small. Depends on your industry, but like, Yelp matters for almost everybody. But all the universal directories, most of them died. So the only ones that we see really show up anywhere in the search results these days are the niche sites. So if you're a lawyer, there's a list of like 10 or 12 that are pretty prominent legal directories that still rank on Google. But there aren't too many that are like the universal ones, like where it's for every business.
Yeah, and like I say, it should get more intelligent, in that sense, and know where to extract the information better from other places than what it perhaps is now. But yeah, it's interesting that they, like we said before, that they launched this. They have all that intelligence because all the algorithms they built in the past, and they've kind of launched this kind of half-baked product. Seems a bit odd, but what's kind of like some of the lesser known local ranking factors that maybe people like overlook? Like obviously talk about reviews and things like that, but is there any others that maybe people just don't pay enough attention to?
Yeah, I'd say a big one that people, I don't know if it's a ranking factor per se, so I want to clarify, but like Reddit as a review source is really powerful in either good or bad way. I can't tell you how many clients we have seen where the thing that ranks for their brand name is some scathing, mad Reddit thread. So that has become, that's something that didn't used to be the case like a couple of years ago. So I'd say Reddit as a reputation is something that's new for a lot of small businesses. And I can tell you that most people and their responses to Reddit, they've got it all wrong. Like actually SEOs are ruining Reddit. So what I generally see as a popular response to this is people will buy comments. And I wrestle with this. I'm like, how is this any different than buying reviews? So if I want my brand to be all prominent over Reddit, I'll go pay for some bunch of people to comment and be like, yeah, Sterling Sky's the best, yada. As a Reddit moderator, like I can spot these so easily and ban somebody so fast. Like it's any actual moderated subreddit will spot this and you're toast. So I see accounts getting banned left, right, and center that are doing this. But this is what everybody's doing. And I'm just like, what? Like, this is like, you're ruining this great platform. But what we are doing with clients on Reddit is more of the slow approach where it's like, it's not going to be instant. You're not going to have success overnight. But I can tell you after we started doing this about a year ago, we have clients getting leads from Reddit now. So that's better than, just going and having a few comments and maybe getting AI citing you, but then your account gets banned and those comments get deleted. So whatever citations you get, you just lose 6 months later. That is what most people are doing. And I would say, like, if you want to actually see Reddit as a powerhouse, which it is, especially for small businesses, there's a lot of threads where people are actually looking for questions and like answers to things you're an expert on. You have tons of opportunities if you just take some time to help some people for free and build a brand there. Over time, you will start getting recommended naturally, but it takes, like, when I say time, years. Like, I'm talking, when I started becoming active on Reddit, we didn't even get our first client from Reddit, I think, until like last year. Like, it was a long freaking time. But I do believe it's compounding, just like YouTube. And 3-4 years from now, we'll be getting even more leads from Reddit. But it's not a quick fix. When people are like, they want those like 3-second hacks. Yeah, Reddit is not your place to get that.
Yeah. And I think I was speaking to Charles Float recently. He said that Reddit went on a big culling of accounts and blocking a lot of people. Is that right?
Oh my God. Like, because it's so bad. And you want to, like, I'm in this one subreddit, the local SEO subreddit is horrible. Like, the amount of AI posts in there, like, I've flagged so many, and the mods are great. They delete them all. But like, it's so tiring going in every day and seeing AI posts. LinkedIn is like this now too. LinkedIn, I can't stand it. Like, I don't even like looking at things I post on LinkedIn because half of my comments are bots or like AI written posts. I'm like, stop. Like, I just want to tell these people to get lost and stop talking. Like, because it's not great. And that I've definitely seen that trend on Reddit. The difference between LinkedIn and Reddit is still heavily human moderated, like very heavily. And the humans have no like patience for this crap. I haven't met a single bot who isn't like banning people left, right, and center that are doing this.
Yeah, LinkedIn is strange, isn't it? Because I get that where the comment will be literally just explaining what the video is, or like, and you're like,
and I'm like, what does this do? I literally want to like just shake these people and be like, what do you think you're accomplishing? I don't get it. Like, what is this doing for your business? This isn't how you build a brand. Like, this is, I don't get it at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Seems like a giant waste of time.
Yeah, I agree. And then when people are like, I'm sure you get hundreds, but like people trying to connect with you, and it's blatantly like, that as soon as you press accept, it's going to be a sales pitch for like some guest post on XYZ sort of website. And you're just like, surely there's a better way. I don't know.
Social media has been increasingly frustrating, but it is something that I think small businesses have always really sucked at because they want some solution where, you just go and you post something and then all of a sudden you get business. It doesn't work that way. Social media is relationship building, right? So it's like you want to do well in social media, and Reddit is a social media site. You have to build relationships with people. You have to connect and offer advice, and you have to talk. And that's what I've been doing my whole life to build my brand. It is easier to do it for myself than to do it for a client, though. I will tell you that, like, way easier. So it's a tough thing to get through some people's head.
Yeah. And do you think, like, surely when things become hyper personalized, we know it's like they're trying to do that now, but when that becomes like even further integrated into it, that local is going to become like even more important, because you're going to really then be picking up, if you're a local business, that sort of, the people in your area a lot more. So definitely the time to step it up, I would say.
Yeah, like you said, the compounding effect. But again, it's the struggle between, getting people to understand that like the payoff isn't right away and getting them to stick with it. So this is why I don't believe most small businesses ever look at YouTube as a source, because it's too much work. It's so time consuming, and it requires like several year commitment before you're really going to see the payoff. And most people aren't willing to do that, or they don't have the time and resources to do it. So I think YouTube is like a massive opportunity for small businesses. Like, if you wanted to get in. There is not a lot of competition yet. I don't know if that'll change over the next decade, but like that is a medium that I think is rising like crazy. And we're trying to push our clients towards video, but I knew it was going to be painful. Like I knew that everyone's going to like the idea. No one's going to want to do the time commitment. And I'll hear marketers talk about like, oh, you can use AI to like create these videos. I'm like, what is that going to do for your brands? Like, I just, again, do not see that working at all. What we're doing here, like, obviously you're building your brand this way. This kind of stuff works. But like, you know, if you're just to create a bunch of AI videos and put them out there, like who would want to watch those? Like, I just, maybe if you're into like cartoons with kids and stuff, my kids definitely watch that crap, but like, you know, not your professional services, like how to cut down a tree or how to repair your roof. I don't see that working well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we know like YouTube is heavily influential in training the models, AI models.
Oh yeah.
And stuff.
It's huge.
Probably, I think it's the number one now. So in terms of like taking the transcripts and stuff. So if you are local and you are, like you say, you could do helpful guides and instructional sort of videos and yeah. And in the future, they'll probably be picked up and you combine that with a bit of social media posting like on the different platforms. Yeah, it could work. I know, like you say, it's effort, but like back in the day, the same place, we did refurbished phones and people ask us all sort of questions about how can I do this on my phone? How do I do this? All the different phones, iPhone, Samsung, whatever. And we just create some simple, they probably look terrible now, but they're simple sort of guides, how-to videos, how to do things. And because there weren't much competition, we were ranking higher than Apple and Samsung and HTC and all that. And that's because we just, and it wasn't great, but it was just being taking a little bit of time to create some videos, edit it a bit on, and post them, and they did well. So, just stuff like that. And today, like you say, you can still use AI to help you speed up the editing processes and all the boring stuff, But yeah, don't make it fully with AI because it, like you say, it's a bit generic. We finished off the last few topics. So what are the top tools you recommend for managing your local listings? Because there's a few out there. Obviously, Darren Shaw has his own stuff. And, I've used Yex, for example, which is quite good. Any sort of ones you recommend?
Yeah, I don't use Yext. They're a bit too pricey for me. We actually don't use a listing management software because I don't think there's that many sites that matter. So like, Google matters. So we just use the Google Business Agency dashboard. Like that's good enough for me. I don't need software. Because again, for reporting, we use like Looker Studio and we custom build our reporting. So I really don't think you need a listing management tool unless you're, doing 15,000 locations and you want some type of roll-up reports and stuff. Then I'm like, yeah, go do like a Yext or a Nuberall. That makes sense. But again, it's Yext is pricey. So, keep that in mind. It's got to justify the continuing annual cost. There are some tools that we use on a regular basis that I'm not sure I could live without. Like I still need Ahrefs for backlink analysis. Like they're doing a really good job keeping up with like some of the AI features and things like that. We're testing out some AI tracking tools. I don't have a recommendation yet, but I'm like, I know the one that I keep hearing that everyone likes is Profound. No idea if it's any good. We're currently testing it. And for rank tracking and like just tracking like progress there, we use Local Falcon and Places Scout for that. And then one tool that's free that I've been using like crazy lately, I'm trying to get the name of it. It's called Advanced GSC Visualizer. It is a Chrome extension that basically overlays onto Google Search Console and it puts like algorithm updates and things on the grids. It makes the charts fancier. It'll add data labels, which are so helpful to see the actual numbers. It has been so helpful with tracking algorithm updates for me because we've had a few in the last year that have really hit small businesses hard. Small businesses were kind of immune to core updates up until last year. Like they weren't like totally immune, but like it was pretty uncommon for me to get a site contact me that got annihilated by an algorithm update. That didn't happen to most local businesses. That is not true anymore. I've talked to so many in the last like month that got crushed in December. So that tool has been really helpful for analyzing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing now. Like, obviously, AI, I'm concerned in many ways about the advancements of AI, but one thing it has enabled us to do is be like, marketeers, innovative, creating new sort of cool things like Chrome extensions and stuff with maybe you weren't capable of doing before. Like when I was talking to Celeste Gonzalez recently around the tools she's made around looking at reviews and stuff and sentiment analysis in bulk. It's, stuff like that's really cool and kind of gives you like fresh insights that other tools haven't done really before, or not as easy to get to, or, as cheap and available, I guess, as they have been before. As you say, some are the bigger tools are quite expensive, especially if you're a small business. So it's giving people like more options. How frequently should local listings be updated to ensure they stay relevant and competitive? Because, some people think once they put in their basic information, that's it. And they'll just kind of leave it and kind of get on with their day to day and maybe update the website now and again, especially local businesses. But like, I presume like this stuff helps stay keeping it relevant and up to date and sort of more optimized. But have we seen real sort of evidence of that?
I mean, Google business profiles are not like social media where you have to constantly like go out there and put stuff up there to engage people. They don't work the same way. So I actually don't think there's a whole lot that you need to do on an ongoing basis on your business profile. Most of what we do on an ongoing basis is actually on the website, not the profile. So I may be different than some local SEOs there because I think I care more about controlling where it shows up and where it ranks. And to do that, you need to mess with the website, not the profile. The one thing that you do need to keep updated on the profile that is likely going to change over time is your hours. Your operation hours are really important to have up to date because they're ranking factor. So if your business profile says you're closed and you're open, that's a huge problem. And it's also one of those things you should look at to evaluate if you should change them because when you are closed, your ranking goes down, right? So keep that in mind, especially this is a problem for businesses where let's say a dentist, they're only open like during the week. And then on the weekends, people might be searching for a dentist, but they're closed. Well, guess what? That doesn't matter. As long as people are searching and you're closed, you won't be ranking as high. So you got to think about that. Think about like when the actual search volume is happening and if there's anything that you can do to extend your hours to be open during those times, even just to answer the phone. That's a conversation we have a lot with businesses.
Yeah, interesting. In terms of like website content, like quickly on that, how much of presence should you have about your local visibility on your website? Like just a service page, or I guess it depends on the business model, but should you try and integrate it as much as you can across your site? And how should you go about that?
Yeah, I think you need a page for every single service that you do for sure at a bare minimum. You usually also want a page for the major areas that you serve as well, right? So for service area businesses, you definitely want a page per city. Where I think a lot of businesses miss out is pricing. So you need your prices on not a pricing page. That's terrible for SEO. You need it on like each service. So, if you offer haircuts, you should have like women's haircut, a child haircut, whatever. And maybe you have a pricing table on your site because that's good for usability. But like on your, women's haircut page, you would want to put the pricing for how much it costs to get your haircut as a woman. Da, da, da. Most businesses don't want to list pricing on their site. And I can tell you it is a huge ranking boost. Google wants numbers. If you don't put it on there, your competitor will, and your competitor will just show up instead of you. So that's the conversation I constantly have with people. So that is one thing that I think people need to get caught up on. And especially in the world of AI, people search cost all the time. If you don't give them the information, somebody else will. It's not secretive.
Yeah, transparency is going to be so key in this new world. And like you say, like you're asking Gemini or ChatGPT or whoever, like who's the best in my local area for blah, blah. Okay, it's these two, I think. Okay, who's the cheapest, who's best value for money? And then it'd be a no contest if the others are saying it. So yeah, final question is kind of yeah, because this is something you discussed, and I featured it on the channel, so I just wanted to get it directly from you. What steps can businesses take to ensure that their most impactful reviews appear prominently in the local listings?
Ooh, this is an easy one. Okay. You want to control your reviews? Get people to add photos. We've tested this. So I actually had a 2-year-old review. I knew the guy, he was a customer of ours, and I emailed him and told him, can you update your review and just add a photo? And that's all he did. You just clicked edit on his review, added a photo. I sent him the photo to add because we were testing it. It popped to the top. That thing stuck for a long time. Reviews with photos will stick at the top longer. This can be either a good or a bad thing, right? I've seen it be terrible where people post like these awful photos of those botched jobs and things, but you can use it for good if you ask people to leave photos. And if you get a negative review, and that one's currently being featured at the top, the best course of action is email some of your raving fans, ask them to update the reviews. And if they can add a photo, get them to add a photo. Doesn't even matter what the photo's about. I had a guy take a selfie in his car and put it as his photo with his review. And that is one of our reviews that's been sticking at the top of our listing for like a while now. It's ridiculous, but it works. That is one where I'm like, I have a quick hack for that. There you go.
Nice. Yeah, great. And we'll end with that. I guess just to wrap it up as well, like what have you got coming up? Because I know you're always doing webinars and all sorts of things. So yeah, what you got coming up?
Yeah, so we have 2 different things that are coming up this year. Ranking Academy is a channel that we took over, a YouTube channel that is catered towards small businesses who don't know a ton about SEO. So think more your beginner level stuff. We are doing our first summit in June. So it's gonna be a virtual summit. I think tickets are like $100. We have some pretty phenomenal speakers lined up. We're hoping to get some like small business speakers as well. So it's not just SEO. But that's going to be happening in June. And again, the audience is small businesses. If you're a marketer in SEO, then you'd want to come to Local U, which is in the fall, in October in Dallas. And that we will be doing in person. We also have a great lineup there. Pretty excited about it. And that's all like, you want the stuff, the newest, the best. If you work in SEO, you do SEO in-house. We get a mixture there. But I will be definitely attending that one, speaking at that one. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. And that all sounds awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me today, Joy. I really, like I say, it's someone I wanted on for a while, so I'm glad to finally talk to you. And yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Man, no problem. Thanks for having me.